Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar on how to increase engagement and improve learning outcomes with the Nursing Informatics Adaptive Online Learning course powered by Acrobatic. My name is Jennifer Stiles. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager for Nursing here at Jones & Bartlett Learning, and I'm joined by one of my colleagues, Randy Roger. She's the Director of Sales and Curriculum Solutions here at Jones & Bartlett. And a little while later, she's going to walk us through the product. So here's what we're going to cover today. We'll talk a little bit about who Acrobatic, our partner, is. We'll discuss that partnership in a little bit of detail. We'll also talk a little bit about the Nursing Informatics Adaptive Learning online course. And at that point, I'm going to turn it over to Randy, and she's going to take us live into the product. Once we're done taking a look at the product, she'll also give you a sneak preview as to what that 2.0 platform will look like in early 2015. And then we'll open it up for questions. I do want to let everyone on the phone line know that your line is on mute today, and we are recording the presentation so that you can share it with a colleague or revisit it after we're done. And if you do have any questions that come up, I invite you to message me directly, the host. We'll take all of these questions and answer as many as we can at the end of the hour, and we'll actually also open up the phone lines for live Q&A at the end as well. So who is Acrobatic? Acrobatic was born out of the Carnegie Mellon University's long history of excellence in cognitive science, human-computer interaction, and software engineering. They are able to build upon the success of Carnegie Mellon University's Open Learning Initiative, a pioneer in online learning. The Open Learning Initiative is a grant-funded, nonprofit project initially supported by the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation. And since 2001, the Open Learning Initiative has created online learning courses based on the findings of learning science and student performance in real classrooms. So by combining the expertise from the Open Learning Initiative and Carnegie Mellon University, the Acrobatic team has been able to develop next-generation data-driven adaptive courseware and learning analytics to serve more learners in more institutions. So let's talk a little bit about the partnership between Jones & Bartlett Learning and Acrobatic. Overall, this partnership combines the efficacy-based course design and measurement of learning with our high-quality academic content. And we'll see that when we go through the course. We'll see that content is drawn from one of our key textbooks, that's Nursing Informatics and the Foundation of Knowledge. We also both share the goal of deepening instructional intervention to provide content mastery, and we know that nursing informatics is an area that can be challenging to teach and is also an area where we see students struggle. This partnership model allows Jones & Bartlett Learning, as well as institutions, to tune the courseware and enables the real-time collection, analysis, and reporting of student learning performance so that faculty can learn about the learning in their own course. It gives them an opportunity to really find out what's going on, where students are struggling, and how they can help them. So let's talk a little bit about the course. Overall, this course prepares nursing students for future leadership roles and covers the basic informatics concepts and health information management applications. It's also a powerful new adaptive online learning environment that continuously collects, analyzes, and reports learning data as students work through online instructional activities so that faculty can monitor students' learning progress and intervene where necessary. Active learning with adaptivities found throughout the course allows students to practice both graded activities and practice activities with hints and targeted feedback. And this is just one of the many features that Randy's going to walk you through in the product demo. This student data is then collected and reported to the learning dashboard for faculty to review, allowing them to provide additional support to students who need it in those particular areas. So it gives this real-time dashboard view, and this is something else that we'll walk through in just a few minutes. This slide represents the total organization of the course and is known to us as the course design triangle. First, the units and modules are organized by student-centered and measurable learning objectives. The course features quality content from the text that we mentioned, the Nursing Informatics and the Foundation of Knowledge texts. And the activities and assessments that are found throughout the course enable constant monitoring and measurement of learning. So that's just a brief overview of the product, and I'm sure that you're really anxious to see what it looks like. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the desktop sharing over to Randy, and you're going to see the screen switch, and I'm going to let Randy take it away and take you live into the product.
Hi, Jen. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, that's perfect.
Wonderful. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and share my desktop. Hello, everybody. As Jen said, my name is Randy Roger. Appreciate your time today. I have the pleasure of demoing this product, and I'm going to go ahead and share my monitor now. Jen, can you confirm when you can see it, please?
Yes, I can see your desktop now, Randy.
Wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and show this to you from the two versions. The first version I'm going to show you is the instructor version, which I'm sure all of you are excited to see. Then I want you to see it as the students see it, so that you understand the difference in the products and the different views. So this is going to be the instructor version. So I'm going to go ahead and explore this course. We're going to go ahead and connect. We'll give it a moment. This is the view of nursing informatics at the table of contents level. So a few things I want you to see from the instructor version. We are looking at it at the syllabus level. There's a tab here that I'm pointing to that talks about the roster. That allows you to see the students who have enrolled in your course. We're going to look at the learning dashboard and the gradebook today. So I'm going ahead and I'm going to jump right in so that you can see it. And then if you have any questions, please go ahead and enter them in chat, and Jen will let me know if they're coming up. I'm going to go ahead and open Module 4. I picked one in the middle so it's a little meaty. And I'll show you first what's on the screen here right now. The first thing that a student sees when they go into the course at the module level is the title of the module. It tells you the learning objectives big and bold up front so that the students know what they should be learning as they go through this particular module. Then it tells you the topics that occur in this module and then what page they're on. You also have the ability to go through this module linearly. The reason that you have two different ways to get to this, the first time you go through it, I think it'll be linear, just like a textbook. You would read page to page. If you need to review something, if you didn't understand it, you didn't do well, then you can come in and jump to a specific topic. So I'm going to show us linearly today. First thing that happens when we turn the page is we get text. What I want you to notice, again, is what's great about this, and please notice lots of white space, not so much that it's text heavy on the screen. It's broken up in chunks really nicely. We then get to Module 4. Now we're into the learning objective, more text, lots of white space. We have imagery that is from the textbook itself, more imagery. And then the very first thing that you see is one of these learn by doing. My apologies. Let me go ahead and close these. It'll make more sense. Bear with me one moment. The challenge with technology demos, of course. There we go. I'll go ahead and reset it. We'll all pretend you didn't see me do that. There we go. So the first one of these that you get to is a learn by doing. So at this point, we've read through 2 pages of text. I'm going to scroll for a moment. We started on page 27. We've read, we've gotten to a screenshot, and we get to an object that tests the student's understanding. In this case, it's a learn by doing something active to test your knowledge. So what you'll see here is it probably looks like any typical thing you see, typical item you see in an online course. The first thing you might notice that's different is this, and it says try a hint. So if I click on that, it's going to say, it should be easy to access information and knowledge needed to deliver care or manage a health service. And then I'm going to close that. And I'm going to go ahead and choose the second option because I had that in the hint and it says, hey, I'm correct. If I close that and choose the wrong one, you'll notice, let's go ahead and choose the wrong one, because if I didn't see the hint, you'll notice that it comes up in red and it says incorrect and gives the student immediate feedback. I like that feature in here, but here's what makes this course different than other online courses that you've seen. So we've got the feedback, we have this hint that's new, color-coded feedback, but then if you'll notice below this specific object, you get to the learning dashboard. And this is where this course gets exciting. It's the analytics piece that Jen talked about earlier. So what does this tell you as the instructor? Well, so far there are 47 students on your roster, and 32 of the 47 have gotten through to this particular object that tests their understanding. it tells us that 59% of the students have gotten it correct. It even goes further and tells us that of the 59 students, of the 59%, or the 32 that have gone through here, 16 of them have gotten it correct. 7, however, have chosen C, and 4 have chosen A. So now we know where the students are being challenged. So we know that question C is giving them trouble. We can either go back in and work with the students who've gotten question numbers, who've gotten this particular question wrong, or we can even go as far as changing this question at some point to be easier for the students to understand, having better distractors. I'm going to go ahead and close that. These learning dashboards and all of the statistics are only available in the instructor view. I'll show you that again. This is a did I get this? This is, as you saw earlier, it's a drag and drop. I put this up here, and it should come up and say, no, I did not get that in the correct location, and it turns it red. I'll try it here, and that one is correct. And for those of us who can see colors, it's green. You'll notice there's a button up here that says accessible mode. When I click that, it changes and becomes from drag and drop to accessible mode. So for students who do not have the hand dexterity to handle the drag and drop motion, it changes it to a drop down. And again, it always has, there's two left that I could choose from, and I always get feedback, correct, incorrect, and color coded. So those are the 2 types of objects that you see. Did I get this? Learn by doing. And under all of the, in the instructor view, under all of the individual objects, we get a learning dashboard. And I'll bring this one up so we can look at that again. In this particular case, 39 of 47 students have gotten to this object, with 70% getting this one correct. And then the feedback, again, is all color-coded. Okay. So I'm going to roll up to the top. So I hope you've been able to see at this point the different objects and the different views at the object level. But I'm going to go ahead and go to my courses, which is going to take us back, to the syllabus. And I'm going to do a learning dashboard. And it's going to show me, now I can see the learning dashboard at the module level. So before I showed you a learning dashboard at the object level, way down in the course, now you get to see how students are doing at the higher module level. We'll go ahead and use this for module 1, which is what opens. And at a quick glance, what you'll see is there are 3 objectives that were laid out in module 1. At a quick glance, you'll notice most of the students are doing well with this particular objective. It's a bright green. However, as we get to module 2 and module 3, we notice that we've got lots of red, and in this case, red is not good. So we'll go ahead and click through and see what that means. We've also got some basic information here that says 47 of your 47 students have participated, with 63% of the 12 activities started on average. Let's go ahead and drill down deeper into module 2, or excuse me, objective 2 in module 1. This tells us how our students are doing. So we know that we have 47 students, and we have 1 dot equaling 1 student. And we can see in module 2 that only 3 students have really done well with the objects they've encountered, with most of the students not doing well. They have a moderate level of learning, and this is 22 of our students, and then we have a low level of learning across the 17 students. And we can even drill down further and find out who these students are and how many attempts they've taken. So in this case, our 22 students, of our 22 students, we can see that Bella, for example, has attempted that particular object twice already. And you can see that in all cases, all of our students have attempted this twice. And we can even get down to the point of seeing how Bella individually has done. It tells us what page in the course and how she's done by our color coding here. I'm going to go back. At this point, I will point out, if we want to talk to Bella about how she's doing, we even have the feature here to email Bella. And we can talk about, we can say subject, we can say module 1, and we can say, Bella, please make an appointment for office hours to review module 1 with me, Professor Roger. and then I can send that. So the great thing about the module level and the learning objectives is you can actually get down to the individual student level, see how they're doing, and go in and work with the student at that level. And that's the beautiful thing about this particular product is you get to intervene with the students who are struggling, because you can see at the adaptivity level which ones those are and catch them before they get too far or worse, drop out. Jen, how are we doing? Do you have any questions so far?
No questions so far, Randy. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. I'm going to keep going then. So what I've showed you so far is I walked you through an individual module, and I showed you the learning dashboard on that particular. I showed you the dashboard at the object level within the module, and I showed you the dashboard at the high-end module level. One of the other features I'm going to point out before I move to the gradebook is down here in this particular course in module number 12, and it's on page 82. So I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to analyzing data to evaluate care. One of the things I'm excited about with this particular product is, as I roll down, you notice that above the Did I Get This, which we had looked at in the earlier module, is this box that says Launch Simulation Analyzing Data to Evaluate Care. Our particular nursing informatics course has a third-party partner that provides hands-on learning via an electronic health records application. And we actually launch out to that third-party product from within the course, right where you would want the student to be using it. So rather than having to tell them, now that you've read through this page, go back out to your LMS and launch this product, it launches as a single sign-on right here, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you'll see that it's launching out to what we call a live lab. And it takes a few minutes for this to come up. We'll give it a moment, and I'll see how long it's going to take. It is initializing the third-party product. It's now allocating us the space on that server, and it's going to take us 80 seconds. So while we're doing that, I'm going to go back that's going to prep on this tab here. I'm going to go back and show you, roll up a little. This is under reporting results. So when the instructional designer and the subject matter expert were putting this online course together, they determined that this particular simulation, analyzing data in electronic health records, fit best here, reporting results. And it tells you these exercises allow you to analyze patient data for appropriate nursing intervention. It even tells you what you're going to be doing. We launch out here, still going. So I'm going to go back for a moment. And when we finish this particular exercise, when we come back, these particular objects all have to do with what we learned in the third-party product. So they are being assessed right in line where it belongs, as opposed to typically when you have a third-party product, it's generally separate, and the students have to find where do I launch it and where do I assess from. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. This third-party product is still coming up. But you can see over here on the left, there's an introduction to the lab that they're doing, and then there's going to be steps to what they need to do. And when it's fully launched in the middle, we're going to see an actual electronic health records product that these steps the students then use to walk through there. So it's coming up now. We'll give it a moment. It's preparing your desktop, and you'll see it launches into electronic health record product. And then you and your students are going to follow the steps. It says to begin, double click on the Vista app and so forth. And you work on it here. And then your product is right back here on this tab. And you come here, you do the work, and there's your learning dashboard. I'm going to stop there. Jen's going to ask, how are we doing? If you have any questions before I go into the gradebook feature.
No, it doesn't look like we have any questions at this time. I will just remind the attendees, if you want to ask a question as we go along, please just feel free to message myself, Jennifer Stiles, the host, but you can keep going, Randy.
Okay, excellent. So far I've showed you what the modules look like, a typical module, text, imagery, and then the individual objects that assess how students are doing. We've looked at the dashboard at the object level. We've looked at the dashboard from a module level. I'm going to go out now, and I want to show you the gradebook that comes with this particular product. I'm going to come back here and go to the gradebook. And this is the grade book from the student level. You're probably saying, whoa, that's a lot of information. So let me go ahead and break that down for you so far. So these are all the students in your roster on the right. And Bella was the one we looked at earlier. If I click here and I highlight in yellow, it makes it a little easier to see how Bella is doing. At this high level, at the roster level, anything that is in blue means that Bella is doing well. And anything that, say, is in white means she hasn't started or has partially started. So I want to dig a little deeper. Let's go ahead and look at Unit 1. And this is how all of my students are doing in Unit 1. Bella is highlighted, but I can go ahead and highlight many students if I want. Because this is a demo product, you'll see that I don't have a lot of student data in here. It's just that Hal is the only student I've got right now. And I can tell you that in Module 2, in the test for the grade book, Hal has done 33%. So I can even go drill down into Hal and see that Hal has attempted this one time, he got his 33%. I can go in further and see how Hal did, or I can just email Hal here and say, hey Hal, work through the module again. You get up to 6 attempts, let's try to get our scores up. Let's go ahead and go into Hal. I'm going to put this on the screen here. Jen, can you go ahead and see how Hal scores on the screen? I want to make sure it's showing a second screen here.
Yes, I can see both screens.
Great.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so at this point, I've drilled down into Hal's information about how he did on his quiz. So you can see I'm looking at one of 47 students. I can see Hal got a 33%. That does match the grade book. I can go so far as to see how he did on the different questions. And then it shows me how Hal did. So he did fine on questions 1 and 2. I can see the question, and I can see his answer, but I can see that he chose C. It should have been D. So again, at this point, I have the option of emailing Hal now that I've looked or not. And I can do that for all of these modules here. I can go ahead and see if there are other student information. Again, being that this is a demo module, I don't have as much student data loaded at this level, but that's how this works. At the gradebook level, I would point out at the top right, there's 2 buttons here, one that says Excel and one that has a print feature. This gradebook does export into an Excel file that allows you to then import it into the gradebook of the learning management system your institution may be using. Or if you'd like, you can go ahead and print this gradebook so that you have a copy with you that reflects the grades at the time of printing. I'm going to go back out at this point into the course, show you a few other features. Sorry about that. Show you a few other features, and then I'm going to show you the student view. So we've been looking here at the syllabus level. I've talked about the roster. I've showed you the learning dashbook, and I've showed you the gradebook. 2 other things I want to quickly point out. One, before you even get into the content of nursing informatics, there is a feature up here that says before you begin, test and configure your system so that you and your students are not struggling with, I can't even get into the course, let alone talk about nursing informatics. So there's a test your system button right here. We also have system requirements and all kinds of directions for configuring your browser. I love this feature so that you don't have to be tech support for your students. Sorry about that. There we go. The other thing I want to point out is that we also have, before you get into the nursing informatics content, there's an entire unit that talks about how to be successful with this kind of course, strategies for learning. This is a non-graded function. This is a non-graded module, has nothing to do with informatics, but everything to do with how to succeed, how to use the learning objectives, prior knowledge and misinformation, planning your approach, doing work and monitoring performance, and reflecting and adjusting. And what's exciting about this, and I'll just click into one topic, it's laid out exactly like the information that we've been walking through. So again, content, linear in nature, imagery, learn by doing, the dashboard analytics. Again, seeing as this is a unique way to approach information, I think having this type of module ahead of the nursing informatics means that you and your students are going to be successful. I'll stop there and ask Jen, are we doing okay? And if so, I'm going to go ahead and show you the student version.
You know what, Randy, we do have a couple questions, so now might be just a good time to kind of pause and take some of these questions. We have one instructor asking if the product is capable of being run within Blackboard.
The answer to that is yes.
Okay, great. Karen asks us, I think she's probably getting back to when you were looking at the gradebook and the breakdown of all of the students and you were delineating according to color. She's asking, can an individual instructor set a specific grade for passing and anything below that, pull it up in a separate color?
At this time, I believe the answer to that is no, but we will check and get back. This product is not modifiable necessarily, so I'll open up that grade, the grade book. So I think the question, Jen, if I understood it correctly, was since Hal has 33%, can this be set to red to quickly notice that Hal is not doing well? Do I understand
Yes.
the question?
That's how I'm interpreting the question, yes.
The answer to that is no at this time, but we can easily ask Acrobatic if that is a feature they could put in their roadmap for the future.
Great. Another LMS-related question, does this also run in Desire to Learn?
The answer across the board is yes. Acrobatic's product is capable of being run out of any of the major LMSs, and we certainly would work with people who have proprietary LMS. Remember that no matter what LMS we run it in, this product does not tie to that LMS's gradebook. You want to export the grades into an Excel document and re-import the grades inside of the institution's LMS.
Great. Thanks, Randy. One more question. Is this product available and is it optimized for smartphones in this current version?
You know, great question, and honestly, I don't remember. The next version, which we'll talk about after I show the student version, is optimized for smartphones. I will double check that, and we'll get back to all of the participants.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And those are the only questions we had right now.
I'm going to go ahead and show everybody then the student version of the product, just so you see. So I'm going to close the gradebook up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave. About that? Okay. Okay, so we've logged out of that. Just remember, I just want to show everybody again, this is what the instructor version looks like. Jen, I'm going to go ahead and hide my desktop for a moment while I log in as a student. So I'm going to stop sharing. And bear with me a moment, everybody, while I log in as a student, and then I'll bring it back up.
Just while Randy's logging in, I want to remind everyone that you will receive instructions and a URL to visit so that you can request demo access of this course on your own, so that you can go ahead and experiment with the instructor side and as well as the student side like you're seeing here today. So that's a great thing about this product is that Acrobatic does allow instructors to get that demo access ahead of time so that you can check out the content, check out some of the features you've seen here today. And it looks like, Randy, you're back up and running.
I am, and the music has stopped, thankfully. Okay. So everybody, I apologize for the momentary lapse there. I have logged back into the product as a student now. And so you'll notice it looks a little different when I come in. I've got to enter my course, resume where I last left off. Great thing is it does keep track of where you've left off. That system check I brought up earlier, and then my scores. So I'm going to go ahead and enter the course so you can see. Look, you think it looks familiar, but notice at the top, remember I scrolled across all those boxes. All those features are not there. All you have is a syllabus and my scores. That same wonderful intro, chapter configuration. But at the module level, you are missing the ability to go into the dashboard and into the gradebook for the whole class. All you have when you get to module 4, which we looked at, is the available practices and the graded checkpoints. And I'll show you, though, when you go into the course, looks the same. That's the great thing. Looks the same. That second page, there's that picture. We'll see our smiling nurse. Our Learn by Doing has not been completed. We'll go ahead and try that. I distinctly remember it was B. I'll go ahead and choose the incorrect answer so you can see it acts the exact same way. But notice below the object, the learning dashboard, to see how the class is doing is no longer available. Okay, that's probably the first big difference, obviously. We'll go back out to my course, and we'll go to my scores, and you'll see that the gradebook also looks different. At the gradebook level, I only see my scores. I don't see the obnoxious blue bars, and I don't see, there's my scores. And it didn't hold in this case. Bear with me a second. I believe I worked through module 3 or 4. Okay. Go back in a moment and finish up. See if it's was doing fine earlier, but of course this is a demo, so of course it won't do what I was expecting it to do. So bear with me one moment. Do the wrap up. Let me show you at this point the checkpoint, and that'll drop the grade into the gradebook. So the checkpoint is the actual graded activity the students do at the end. I'm going to go ahead and randomly click so we can get through this. This one is particularly short in Module 4. There we go. So there's 7 questions. I'm obviously going to say submit and finish. It stops me and says, hey, if you submit your answers and finish, are you sure you want to do this? This is going to be recorded in the gradebook. And when I do this, it says my submission was successful. I've attempted this 1 of 6 times. It records the date and time. Tells me my score is 29%. I got 20 out of the available 70 points. Do I want to review? Yes, I do, because I didn't do well. So it tells me here I chose A. I got 0 out of 10 points. Here's my feedback. Question 2, I chose B. I got that one correct. And I can do that all the way through here. You notice I got 1 of 6 attempts, so it's going to ask me, do I want to do this again? Right? I have the choice to do it again. I want to go ahead and show you that that should have dropped into the gradebook, Module 4, and it did. So what it's going to show us here is the fact that I chose, I took this one, and here's my grade, and here's the time of my grade. And I have the option to take this 1 of 6 times. So that's the difference. I do have the ability in the student view to print this. Notice the Excel grade is missing because I wouldn't be exporting this and putting it in the gradebook because I'm on the student view. Okay, and you resume where I left off. Go ahead, will take me back in, and the last page I did was Module 4 with the wrap-up and the checkpoint, so it took me right back. Jen, that's the student view. I don't think I've missed anything, so I've showed you everything. I've showed you instructor view, the difference between the instructor and student. At the instructor level, you got to see the different dashboards. There's dashboard at the object level, dashboard at the module level. We've talked about LMSs. We've showed you that there's a third-party integration of an electronic health records product so that there's actual practice. I think I've hit everything. Jen, can you think of anything else we need to see?
Just a couple questions that have come in, Randy, so I think this is a great place to stop. How many of the screens are the students able to print out? One of our instructors cites that her students like to have handouts. So is there a limit to what can be printed from within this course?
To my knowledge, there is no limit. I've never tried that. So we will obviously get back to somebody on that one. There's a new question. Congratulations.
Okay, great. And another question, now that you showed the student view, does the student learn by doing, or does the learn by doing randomly change the questions for the students? So I'm thinking that this instructor is asking if, you know, each student, yes, yep.
No, the answer is no. What you see in this view is what they will see.
And every student sees the same thing?
Every student sees the same thing. The learn by doing are all practices for the students. What is counted in this particular course is the checkpoint quiz that I showed at the end in the student view.
Okay, great. Another instructor wanted to know, are the quizzes timed? Is there a certain time limit that students have to complete them?
The answer to that is no, I don't believe so. We'll double check and confirm.
Great. And Randy, before we move on, one thing I just wanted to point out, we've had a couple questions from instructors that I've answered individually. They wanted to know about the content and about the textbook. So content is drawn from our Nursing Informatics and the Foundation of Knowledge textbook. It's one of our leading informatics textbooks that we sell here, and that is an option that some instructors, if they want to use the textbook, they can. Other instructors choose not to because the content is found in line. And Randy, if there's anything else you want to add to that, please feel free.
No, actually, that's a great answer for that question.
Okay, great. I think we're ready to move on.
Okay, Jen, you need to take back, I'm going to go ahead and give you back the presenter role, and we're going to work off of your slide deck. If we need to go back into the course, please know that we can do that. I have no problem with that. Okay, we're going to bring up, so what you all have seen today, while Jen's getting up the slides we're going to show you next, I'm going to tell you some exciting news, and that is what I've shown you today is our 1.0 version of this course. Jen talked about our partnership with Acrobatic. We are in the process of updating the user interface, and starting in January of 15, we have the 2.0 version. And the 2.0 version has just a huge leap and bounds ahead in terms of user interface. And somebody had asked the question earlier about smartphones. I do know that the 2.0 version is, it does have the ability to view this on a smartphone and on a tablet. So I've just been talking about the 2.0 version. Here are some slides about what is coming starting January 1 of 15. So the learning dashboard that I showed you had the students and the dots and the different colored dots that delineated how the students are doing. Acrobatic has moved to a more natural language type of dashboard, and you'll see this is query-based UI. The exciting thing is every time you as the instructor go in, this is done in real time. The questions are on the right that you can click on, and some of the ones, because the text is small, might be, which of my students are doing poorly? Where are students spending the most time? Which students have practiced the least? On the left side, so those questions I'm reading from you, the small text on the right, on the left are the cards, the data cards that you want to see each and every time you log in. So we have more questions and reports on the right than we have ability to show cards. So you can customize your view as to what you want to see immediately. So this particular instructor, for example, when they log in, always wants to see how frequently are my students logging in? How well are my students learning? Which content has my students completed? Which objectives are we struggling with the most? So this is the new version of the learning dashboard at the module level. So in the version of the course that I showed you, when you saw all of the dots and one dot equaled one student, you clicked in and you saw how the students are doing. In the 2.0 version, they give you expanded insight on how your students are doing as a whole, and it's done through this bubble chart. You'll see some notes around the side that says easy pivot data. The takeaway that I want you to take away from this screen are the colored dots. At the bottom in the center where it says activity complete, there's one lone red dot right in the center bottom. That particular student, if we click on him, and the way you read these charts, he or she is the student that is doing poorly because they completed 50% of the activity, but they're not progressing up in percentage of learning estimates. So our students in the yellow in the middle, they've gotten half of this complete, but they are getting better grades. They're answering more of these objects correctly. And then the students in the top right, they are doing the best because they've completed most of it and they're learning most of it. So that's how you use these quick bubble charts. Similar to 1.0 that I showed you, you can drill down into each individual student. So you'll notice the bottom purple box says quickly identify students at risk. That, again, is the goal that Acrobatic sets out with. Which students do I need to intervene with, and how early can I get to them to ensure that they stay with the class and they don't drop? Here again, more information at the fingertips for the faculty. So again, here's your student roster. Here's how they're doing from our learning estimates. What I want to point out on this screen is kind of on the right side, you'll notice there's an expanded feature set as to how you can get data out of this course. So before we had the option only an Excel spreadsheet and printing, now we can copy it. We can provide a CSV, Excel, PDF, or print. So again, more ways to get the data out of this course and then for importation into whichever LMS your institution is using. And the most exciting slide of all, we now are going to have student adaptivity. So whereas before version 1 was always focused on the instructor and the at-risk student, now we're going to start using those analytics to provide the students with information on their learning. So some of the ones, this is small text, so I'll go ahead and walk you around this particular screen because this is brand new for all of us. Top left says, what am I working on now? So it helps your students make the most of their study time, and it visually shows them how they're tracking and what they need to still complete. It tells them in the center in M2, you've gotten 2/3 of the way done. Module 2, Introduction to Biology, 2/3 of the way done, it gives you a resume button. So you can go right back into that course. If you're a fan of game-based learning, on the right side, it even tells you which modules you've completed, tells you how you've done and the number of stars. So track completed activities and learning objectives. Bottom left, it tells you personalize your study plan and your learning pathway. So the students can tell by badges earned, performance earned. They can see how they're doing depending on how they want to see it. How can I complete my work efficacy? And then what material am I struggling with most? So earlier I told you the students can come back and actually jump right in instead of doing the course linearly. What am I struggling with the most allows them to jump back in, reread just the area where they're struggling, retake those particular objects to assess their learning and take their checkpoint again. So I think that Acrobatiq has heard that we love their analytics, but the students want to know how they're doing as well as the instructor. And so for the new version that we will have available for you on January 1 and 15, you now have both the instructor version so you can intervene as early as you need to, and the student version to allow them to be even more successful than they can be with this course. I'm going to stop there and say, Jen, what questions do you have?
Great. That was fantastic. Thanks, Randy. I think there's a lot to look forward to in that next 2.0 version. One of our instructors was wondering how many credits this course is worth.
I have to go back and look at the syllabus. I don't remember off the top of my head how much time on task is in this product.
Great.
I apologize. I didn't bring that with me.
No worries. And we can always follow up with that information in our follow-up note too, so thanks for following up on that. And I'm going to bring Andrea, our operator, on the line, and she's just going to instruct you if you would like to ask us a question live, you're more than welcome to do so. If you want to ask us a question via chat, we still have a few more minutes. You can message myself directly. And I just want to call your attention to the slide that you're seeing now that says Resources and Demo Access. We do invite you to review the course syllabus and also to request a demo. You can do that by visiting the URL. It's go.jblearning.com/NIACRO. And if you want to learn a little bit more about Acrobatiq, our partner company, and Intelligent Courseware, we invite you to visit their site as well, and that's Acrobatiq, that's TIQ.com. They're doing some great things in terms of adaptive learning and working with the Open Learning Initiative and as well as Carnegie Mellon University, so we're really pleased to be working with them on this. Andrea, do we have any calls in the queue?
You do have a question from the line of Cindy.
Great, go ahead, Cindy.
Do you receive a certificate of the completion or after the course is done?
At this time, no, we don't offer certificate of completion. Again, I can ask Acrobatiq if that's anywhere on their roadmap. You do have the ability to export the grade book and to see if the student has completed the course or not.
Oh, okay, thank you.
We did have one additional question come in via the chat, Randy, and this was from an instructor that is asking us if we have any data that supports the learning effectiveness of students that are currently using this product. And I know that it's fairly new in the marketplace, so I'm not sure if we do have any data on that yet.
I believe that we have, that the answer is no, I don't have that with me today. We can certainly ask Acrobatiq what studies they've done on the efficacy, because I know they have just oodles of data. For this particular course, I believe that we are working through one of our first semesters, and we should be able to get that for follow-up, Joan.
Okay, excellent. And I know on the Acrobatiq's website they do have a few different white papers, and I'll take a look at those, and I can include those in our post-event follow-up as well if anyone's interested in taking a look at that too, if it's pertinent. Andrea, any additional questions?
There are no audio questions at this time.
Okay, great. Well, it looks like we ended a little bit early today. I want to thank everyone for their time, for joining us, for hearing about this fantastic new product that we're excited about. I also want to thank Randy for taking the time to walk us through the product, answer the questions, and just really give us some information on what we can look forward to in 2015.
You are welcome. It was my pleasure.
Great, thank you. And again, look for a follow-up note from us and take a look at the 2 URLs that we have listed on the screen if you wish for demo access or to see the course syllabus and to look at the course yourself. All you have to do is visit go.jblearning.com/NIACRO. Thank you very much for joining us today.